Just when you think tribalism couldn't get any worse, this actually happened. Bayley was at AEW Dynamite this past week. Not only Bayley, but also Tamina Snuka. And then, of course, social media was in a frenzy. Now, I found this to be very interesting because for some reason in pro wrestling, friends cannot support friends in another company. And I find it even more fascinating that there's literally people writing blogs on Facebook. I mean, not even blogs at this point. It looks like books. People are writing 10s and 20s of paragraphs to literally talk about why Bayley and Tamina should be fired from the WWE. Now, that is absolutely asinine. It's actually pretty insane to think that people genuinely think this way. To be honest with you guys, I thought it was a joke. I thought people were joking. I thought they were engagement farming. I legitimately thought that these people talking about Bayley and Tamina being fired or whatever, I was laughing so hard when I realized people are actually being serious. And I think the worst part about this, too, it just goes to show you how lost people are when it comes to the way they consume social media. Because I think partially you have your engagement farmers, right? And that's normal, obviously. People are going to do that. They are trying to maximize the revenue. They're going to say the worst and most outrageous, disgusting takes possible. But then you actually have people who I think consume these tweets and these posts on social media everywhere to the point where they genuinely start to agree with it. And it is funny to me that this is even a topic for a video because of two reasons. And I want to talk about that. One, people need to realize that there is no war between AEW and WWE. And two, if there was a war between WWE and AEW, you, my friend, are not on the front lines. Point 2 is not even valid considering point 1 is not valid because there is no war between these two companies. I do not expect Mercedes Varnado to go to AEW and Bayley going into WWE and saying, well, screw you, you left us, you walked out, you went to Japan, you had a chance to come back, but you decided to go to AEW, so screw you, I don't like you. Guys, what the hell has happened here? I think Mercedes is a fantastic talent. So fantastic to the point when I even talked about the rumors of her going to WWE or AEW, my observation of it was actually pretty damn clear. It was, hey, she's really talented. I want her on weekly TV. There is a storyline immediately for her in WWE if she chooses to go there. But she goes to AEW and she has a chance to be the face of their women's division and help them where they need help. Now, at the end of the day, my life is not impacted by the sole decision that Mercedes makes. At all. There is not less money coming into my pocket. There is not more money coming into my pocket. My health doesn't decline when Mercedes chooses AEW, and my health doesn't decline if she chooses WWE. My life in no way, shape, or form is impacted by Bayley going to AEW Dynamite showing support for her friend, nor is your life. Yet for some reason, people genuinely believe this to be a big deal. And it's actually really funny that this is even a conversation. It's even funnier thinking that this is a conversation when we have seen AEW talent reportedly backstage at WWE events, whether it was to support Cody or to support Jade or whoever it may be. Now, I think it's a good thing for people to be backstage and seeing the other company and seeing their friends in other companies. In fact, what I actually think will be amazing is one day I think it's inevitable WWE and AEW will be friendly, and I guarantee you in some capacity they will work together. Whether it's today, tomorrow, 5 years from now, 6 years from now, I don't know. But I do think at one point there will be a time in the company when both companies do need each other in certain aspects. And so the funny thing is, fans in this tribalism need to realize that when that inevitably happens, everything you've ever argued about is stupid. I mean, it already is stupid now more than anything, but just imagine the two companies you think that genuinely hate each other, or the fact that wrestlers in each other's companies hate each other and hate the opposite company. It's ridiculous. I have literally talked to wrestlers, dead ass serious too. I've talked to wrestlers where I'm like, hey, what do you think about this tribalism that happens on social media and stuff? And they laugh about it. They're like, bro, you have no idea how much we root for each other and how happy we are for each other, because at the end of the day, you got to put the people first. So I think this video, for me to just talk about Bayley and Tamina, that's one thing. And that's great that, they're supporting their friend. But I want AEW people to continue supporting WWE people, right? Now, Triple H and Tony Khan, they're the front men. Whether they call each other a pissant company or whatever it may be, that's up to them. But here's the thing. A lot of people don't need to understand this too. Their behaviors towards each other is actually a reflection of the company. So just so you guys understand where I find my like where I feel about this or what I feel about all this stuff is at the end of the day, in the real world, you know, because if you don't work for WWE or AEW, this stuff doesn't really matter to you. But for me, for example, I worked a corporate job for 10 plus years, high level position, right? At the end of the day, I would talk to other people joining my company and I would be recruiting for my company. The first thing I looked at when somebody was talking bad about their other company was, they can do the same thing to us. They could do the same thing to me, right? I find that to be funny because at the end of the day, I want people to be happy in their jobs because when inevitably something goes wrong, there is another choice for them. The more choices, the better it is. So if people aren't happy in AEW, the good news is they could go to WWE. And if people aren't happy in WWE, the good news is they could go to AEW. Now, why is that a big deal? Well, for me, I cover wrestling, right? So my business has been better off knowing that there's multiple companies thriving. That's just how it is, right? But at the same time, too, I think one of the cool things is that the more companies that exist and the more companies that are thriving, the more wrestlers get paid, the more it becomes about the wrestlers and the people than the actual three-letter words. So at the end of the day, when I see Bayley supporting AEW, I don't think Bayley's immediate thought process is, I'm going to sign to AEW. However, I don't think it would be a bad thing if she ever did go to AEW because guess what? Jade just went to WWE. There's got to be a trade-off. People are going to have to leave the company and go to another company at some point. Deonna Purrazzo is a great example. Loyal to TNA, went to WWE, went back to TNA, then joins AEW, and people are calling her a traitor. But how amazing is it that Deonna Purrazzo can go from a company that's a lot smaller, making a living wage or whatever, but a lot smaller, and she's successful, to now she's in AEW on weekly television and getting paid a lot better. Like, dude, that's amazing. So, yeah, the fact that people genuinely think Bayley or Tamina should get fired, it's absolutely ridiculous. I didn't see that outrage for Ricky Starks or for QT Marshall or anything like that. But social media has gotten out of hand, and this is just a simple reminder that it's okay to support your friends and other companies. And if you're a fan and not a wrestler, then just understand it's okay to enjoy or not enjoy the product. But to sit there and bash other people, literally, it's the biggest joke I've ever seen. I get it all the time. I say something positive about AEW, I'm on Tony Khan's payroll. I say something positive about WWE without mentioning AEW, all of a sudden I absolutely hate AEW and I'm biased. You can never win with these types of things, and then I just kind of remind myself at the end of the day, you have to realize that a lot of this outrage and a lot of this trolling and stuff, it's just fake. It's not real, and there's a reason why 99.9% of it comes from accounts with 10 different numbers after the username and a fake profile picture. But nonetheless, I'm actually happy to see WWE stars support AEW. I'm glad to see them tweet about it, just as I'm glad that people have done it from AEW to Jade and so forth. And it's just so funny because the only people who actually care are the people not actually involved with it whatsoever. Amazing.